Week 17, the NFL season is here, and we have some absolute heaters, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, the marquee matchup in the 4 o'clock slate that everybody can't wait to get to, and they did a good job scheduling because it's only Giants, Raiders, and Eagles, Bills on 4 o'clock slate. So yeah, like everybody's gonna have their eyes on Eagles, Bills. We have Seahawks, Panthers, which I think is a slept-on matchup. 2 NFC playoff teams. We also have Steelers, Browns. If the Steelers win, they are in. We have 49ers, Bears on Sunday Night Football as well. 2 of the best teams in the NFC going out. And how can you not be fired up? We're going to go through every single game. Last week, I went 10-6 on the year since week 4. I'm 145 and 117, picking pretty much every game. Let's lock in now. I'm going to start off with some of the heaters, but we'll go in somewhat chronological order. So let's start at 1 o'clock. Seahawks at Panthers. I think the Panthers are getting very much disrespected by this line here. They are the coin flip team because they'll lose games to the Saints, but they'll also beat the Rams and Packers. So it makes no sense. I think they're getting absolutely disrespected here, especially at home where they played some teams tough this season. Their defense is very underrated. Very underrated. Excuse me. Top 10 in yards allowed per play. Top 10 in percentage of drives where opposing teams score against the Panthers defense. They're top 10 scoring percentage defensively. They are 7th in pass defense, 8th in interceptions, led by J.C. Horn, which is crazy, though, because usually teams that are good against the pass have a good pass rush. They're last in the NFL in sacks. Or 31st, excuse me. The Niners are last. So it's crazy how good this secondary is because they're playing at such a high level without any type of pass rush helping them out, making their lives easier. So I think we can't overlook this defense, especially Derek Brown, who I think is one of the best defensive tackles in football. They were literally historically bad against the run last year. They're not good against the run this year, but they were historically bad, last in the NFL by a wide margin. They're 20th in the league this year against the run. So Derek Brown is no doubt one of the best defensive players in the NFL. And the Seahawks can't run the football at all. They cannot run the football at all. That is the weakness of this Panthers defense, is on the ground. So the Seahawks are one of the least efficient teams running the football. I think that this Panthers team can slow down Sam Darnold and the Seahawks offense. The only thing, though, Sam Darnold is at his worst when there's pressure in his face. The Panthers don't generate any pressure whatsoever. But Sam Darnold also isn't afraid to put the ball in harm's way. They have some very elite corners, very elite safeties in the back end. That's why they're a top 10 defense. That's why they're 8th in interceptions. I think that the Seahawks are a little bit sneaky on the defensive side of the ball, the Panthers are sneaky on the defensive side of the ball, and the Seahawks are without Charles Cross. He's questionable again, not without, but he's questionable and didn't practice on Wednesday. So I think this Panthers defense can slow down the Seahawks offense and Sam Darnold a little bit. And the Seahawks a little bit of a letdown spot here, coming off an electric win against the Rams on Thursday Night Football. I say letdown spot, but on the same side of that coin, or on the flip side of that coin, it's also a long week, or it's also an extended mini bye for the Seahawks as well. So that's worth noting too here. The Panthers' offense is where the problem lies, ladies and gentlemen, because they are garbage. They're bad on third down. They're bad in the red zone. They're bottom 10 passing offense. But then Bryce Young will randomly have 3 touchdowns and 147 passer rating versus the Rams, or he'll have 450 yards with 3 touchdowns against the Falcons. So he just randomly chooses to go off. He's been very clutch. Like, thinking about that game last week, he had the 3rd down throw to Coker. Against the Rams, he had a couple of 4th down dots as well on Emmanuel Forbes' head. So he can be very clutch. I like the Panthers to cover here, and I think a little money line sprinkle is not crazy as well. Huge letdown spot here for the Seahawks, and I think this Panthers defense is a little bit slept on, considering how good their pass defense is. With the lack of pass rush they have, you can't overlook the guys on the back end of this defense. J.C. Horn's one of the best corners in football. Not saying he'll be able to slow down JSN in this passing offense, but there's a short list of guys ahead of him that I'd be more confident matched up with the JSN. So I like the Seahawks, and I like a little sprinkle on their money line as well. Steelers at Browns. The Steelers are 3-point favorites. Listen, Aaron Rodgers has been cooking. Like, you can't dispute that. He's looked good, but they played the Ravens. They played the Dolphins. Both of those teams don't have a secondary. Both of those teams don't have a pass rush. They also played the Lions. He looked great against the Lions. That's a tremendous win. They do have a good pass rush. Their secondary sucks, though. The Browns have a good secondary, and the Browns have a good pass rush. So I think it's going to be tough sledding for the Steelers, especially considering DK Metcalf is suspended. Their wide receiver, we're looking at Roman Wilson and Adam Thielen. I think it's going to be a heavy tight end day. It doesn't look good for the Steelers offense. The under in this game, what's it at? The under's at 34.5. That's just very low. I wouldn't mind taking it at all. This is a typical Mike Tomlin favorite coming off a big win. This is a fade spot. This is historically where you fade the Steelers. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And the Steelers defense has been trash. 27th in total defense, 16th in scoring, but they do generate a lot of turnovers and they do generate a lot of pressure. They're 4th in the NFL in sacks. They were top 5 in turnover percentage. Shedeur has 7 interceptions in 5 starts and has completed less than 65% of his passes. The Steelers generate pressure. The Steelers get turnovers. Shedeur Sanders' biggest plays have came against the Titans or on screen passes, unironically. His biggest passing plays have come on screen passes. He's also taken 15 sacks in 5.5 games played. That puts him on pace for 46 sacks. That would put him in the top 5 in the NFL in sacks taken. And it's not all him, but that was his thing coming out of college, holds on to the ball too long. Well, he's holding on to the ball too long. And this Tomlin defense that turns guys over and generates a lot of pressure, only being 3-point favorites against a rookie quarterback, give me Tomlin. And I know it's a typical Steelers Tomlin fade spot. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And you can see how much Vegas knows that and how much Vegas respects the Browns defense at home by making the Steelers only 3-point favorites. That seems trappy. And if it's a trap, fuck, I'm falling for it. Give me the Steelers -3. The under is flirt. I would flirt with it here, but that's just too much. Like a Shedeur Sanders pick 6. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I would take the under now that I think about it. Well, let's add the under to the slip. Under 34.5, Steelers -3. That's what we're going with here. Jags at Colts. Jacksonville are 6.5-point favorites. This game is in Indy. I'm tempted to take the Colts just because of how Phillip Rivers played last week, but that 49ers defense is not very good. Not as good as this Jags defense is. And the Jags are just beating the shit out of teams. They blew out the Chargers. They beat the Broncos in Mile High by 2 touchdowns. And the Colts defense just got carved by Purdy for 5 touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence has 10 touchdowns in 2 weeks, like 16 touchdowns, 1,000 yards, no interceptions in the past 4 games. He's absolutely balling. Liam Cohen is definitely licking his chops watching this Colts defense. I think the Jags dominate. I think they keep on rolling here. And CMC also had one of his most efficient days on the ground against the Colts, and the Niners can't run the football. Like they can't. They're one of the least efficient teams in the year in terms of yards per carry. So I like the Jags here -6.5. The Jags also have a top 10 run D, so they can contain Jonathan Taylor. I think that's huge here. Okay, let's get through these stinkers really quick. Bucks at Dolphins. Tampa Bay 6-point favorites. Quinn Ewers is the worst quarterback I've watched this season, not named Brady Cook. He threw like 5 interceptions or whatever it was. 4 interceptions against the Bengals. The Bengals defense. I'm not betting on this game. Because Baker Mayfield has not been just as bad, but he's also been horrible. I'm not touching it. This game's a stinker. I'm not touching the stinkers. The only time I'll really tune into this game is if I hear Zach Wilson is replacing Quinn Ewers. Then I'll tune it just to root for my boy Zach, who I don't believe in, but I want him to do good. Cardinals, Bengals, yuck, disgusting. Give me the over. Not adding that to the slip though. Player props galore. This is a heavy player prop game. It says here 62 in Cincinnati. Overs at 53.5. So here's a rule of thumb if you're new here. Check the weather for player props, and then if the total is high, like 53.5 is obviously a very high total, that means Vegas is going to think offense. And as long as the weather isn't fucking around, and if you are you a player prop addict, if you're addicted to fantasy football, your team's over, your season's over, but you want to bet player props, lock in. Why does this say? Does Chase Brown only have 348? That's got to be wrong. I think my computer's just better. Either way, I like some player props in this game. I think Chase Brown's a good bet as well. He found 3 touchdowns in like what was it? In 1 quarter last week. So yeah. I'm not touching it, but if I did, this is a player prop heavy game, and this is I wouldn't take the under. I'd say that the over is very high though. All right, what else we got? Saints at Titans. I am adding bets, even though this game's a stinker. I am putting bets on this. Like I'm adding these bets to my slip. The Shuck Show rolls on. You guys know I'm a Tyler Shuck truther. He's my guy. Cam Ward's also my guy, and he's been playing great over the past few games. The over 39.5 is a smash to me. I love that play. Probably my favorite play of the week. Both offenses have been cooking. Both defenses suck. The Titans offense in particular, because we all know Shuck's a baller. Everybody knows this at this point. But the Titans offense is averaging 27 points per game over the last 3 games. Cam Ward's playing some of his best football so far this season. They're not going to beat the Saints, but I think they can score some points against a pretty bad Saints defense. Give me the over 39.5. Give me New Orleans -2.5. I'm just riding the Shuck Show. He's covered like 3 straight weeks now. Give me New Orleans. Giants at Raiders. Disgusted not watching. Yeah, no, we're not going to talk about it. Not going to give a pick. Fuck this game. And fuck Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers, too. Fuck everybody that has anything to do with the Raiders. They fucked me over this year. Not really. I benched Genty last week in fantasy and lost. That's just why I'm mad at Ashton Genty. I should be mad at myself. Either way, fuck that game. Not betting it. Will barely be watching it. Probably be watching it on my phone. I like that it's just one game here because now I can watch this game with my mommy and daddy because they hang out downstairs on Sundays and I stay up here in the cave where I have every single screen on at once. I can hang out down there and watch this game. So that's exciting. Either way, Eagles at Bills. The Eagles are better than Buffalo at literally every single position except quarterback and running back, but the Eagles still have Saquon. So like it's not like that gap is very far. This year it is, obviously, but it's not like the gap is tremendous. The Eagles are getting back Lane Johnson and Jalen Carter. The Bills don't have if the Bills don't get the run game going, their offense has sputtered this year. And who on earth is getting open for the Bills on the outside against Quinyon Mitchell, Adoree Jackson, Cooper DeJean in the secondary? Let me know. And getting Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, you have Jahad Campbell, Nakobe Dean is questionable. Zach Bond. Like, I don't know how you're going to be able to run the ball against this Eagles team, especially when they have the guys on the outside where they can just go man to man. And as the defense, as the season goes on, Vic Fangio's defenses just get better. And as far as the Bills' defense is concerned, they stink. They absolutely stink. They can't defend the run. They don't generate pressure at a particularly elite level. Not to mention, there's no Ed Oliver. He's been on IR all year. I don't know if they're even getting him back. Joey Bosa is questionable. And then offensively, Dalton Kincaid didn't practice on Thursday. And if they don't have their tight ends, this offense is a complete shell of itself because those are the best pass catchers. And even if they are playing, what better player to lock up a tight end than the best nickel corner in football in Cooper DeJean. So I like the way this Eagles defense matches up with this Bills offense. I think that the Eagles are literally better at pretty much every single position. There's at least an argument. Maybe there's some guys on the O-line that you're taking in Buffalo over Philadelphia, but I think the Bills O-line is tremendously overrated just because they don't allow a sacks when they have Josh Allen as the hardest quarterback to sack in the NFL, like taking snaps behind them. I think they get so overrated. I think this Eagles defense, since acquiring Jalen Phillips, we're going to see it at full strength. We're going to see this Eagles roster at full strength for the first time in who knows how long. I love the Eagles. The Eagles roster is better. They're less banged up. They're getting Jalen Carter back. They've only allowed 2 100-yard runners since making that trade, and it was in the same game. It was Kyle Monangai. It was DeAndre Swift. I like to think that's just an outlier and that Ben Johnson got the best of this coaching staff and Ben Johnson it was a Ben Johnson masterclass. Because other than that, their run defense has been pretty solid. If they can slow down James Cook, which I think they'll be able to do, just sell out to stop the run. And then just run cover 2 man all day. Like, I'm not a fucking coach, but I don't know how anybody's getting open on the outside against these corners, man. I really don't. Like, you could do cover 2, cover 1 robber and shade the 1 high safety over to whatever side Adoree Jackson's on, and then just have Quinyon Mitchell one-on-one island to island style. And I think that they'll be able to stop the run. They won't get burnt by Adoree Jackson sucking, and then they'll be fine. And then instead of a linebacker, like if you're doing a 4-3, instead of just run nickel all the time, because Cooper DeJean's perfectly fine lining up in the box, keep him on whichever side the tight end is on, so that if he does break out into a route. Listen, I'm not a coach. I'm not going to pretend to be a coach there. But logically, that makes sense in my brain. Just keep Cooper DeJean on whatever side the tight end's on. Stay in nickel because he's a sure enough tackler where he's not a liability in the run game. Play some cover 1 with Zach Bond lurking in the middle of the field and shade that one safety to whatever side Adoree Jackson's on. And then Quinyon on an island with fucking Tyrell Shavers. Give me that shit all day, man. All fucking day. And then when we're pass rushing, we're containing. We're not going to give Josh Allen room to step up in the pocket and take off with his legs. We're not chasing sacks. We're trying to keep him in that pocket, make him beat you through the air because we can't do that. The Eagles are so much better than the Bills on paper. If the Eagles don't win this game, then I'm going to be very concerned about them going forward. But I think they win. I think they dominate. I think this is a potential Super Bowl matchup. Not because I'm confident in the Bills roster, because I am confident in Josh Allen being the best quarterback in this playoff field. And I do think the Eagles roster, if everything starts to come together now, and they did figure out some stuff offensively over the past few weeks, and I know it was the Commanders, and I know it was the Raiders, but still, you kind of need those bang jobs to get ready. And it's not like this Bills defense is any good at all, man. It's not. It's not. It's really not at all. Like, looking at this, like, if this Eagles defense is... Look. Josh Allen's going to have, the only way the Bills win is if Josh Allen plays Superman and the Bills score 30. And I think that's completely possible. They need to score 30 because the Bills defense is garbage. Against talented offenses this season, the Bills defense has been carved. The Pats hung 31. The Bengals and Burrow, they hung 34. The Texans with Davis Mills put up 23. The Bucks hung 32. Sean Tucker had like 1,000,000 yards. So against talented offenses, this Bills defense has fucking stunk. There's not a more talented offense in the NFL in terms of players and in terms of talent than the Philadelphia Eagles. They should be able to score 30, 35 points. And will Josh Allen and this Bills defense or Bills offense be able to keep up? I don't fucking think so. Give me the Eagles. I think the Eagles could win this game by a couple of touchdowns, man. And they're underdogs. Give me the Eagles all day. All right, Bucks at 49ers, Sunday Night Football. Pretty good Sunday Night Football game, I would say. I think this game is going to be electric. Chicago dominates the trench battle in this game offensively. I do not see the 49ers being able to get any type of pressure and stop this Chicago Bears run game as well. I just don't see it. The 49ers don't have a lot of wins against good teams, especially recency. They did beat the Rams with Mac Jones on Thursday Night Football in Week 5. They beat the Panthers recently, and the Panthers are a playoff team, so I guess that's a good win. But this 5-game win streak that the 49ers are on right now, it's come against the Cardinals, Panthers, Browns, Titans, and Colts. Not exactly ideal. And Phillip Rivers somewhat tore up this Niners defense. Well, not even he did. Phillip Rivers was carving out there. The Bears offense is explosive. I think Ben Johnson is licking his lips, licking his chops, watching the tape of that 49ers team last week. Brock Purdy also puts the ball in harm's way a little bit more than Caleb Williams does, and the Bears lead the NFL in turnovers. So I think the Bears are going to win the turnover battle yet again. I think they're going to be able to run the football against this 49ers defense. I think they're going to be able to get plays big. They're going to be able to get plays, big chunk plays down the field because that's what they've done all season long, and that's what Phillip Rivers was able to do. I also think the Niners are going to be able to carve up this Bears defense. So I love the over, and I love the Bears +3 because if it does get a one-possession game in the fourth quarter, I trust Caleb Williams more than Brock Purdy at this point. I really do. But yeah, like the Bears, they create a lot of turnovers, but they're bottom 5 in yards allowed per pass attempt and yards allowed per carry. So they're allowing big chunk plays often. The Bears defense is 27th in yards allowed per play. They're 21st in sacks, 22nd in pressure rate. They're just number 1 in turnovers. That's really been their saving grace. And Purdy does, like against the Panthers, he had some bad interceptions. So he can be a little gung ho. He can put the ball in harm's way a little bit. And I think that's going to be the ultimate decider in this game. So I love the over. This is player props galore as well in Santa Clara, as long as there's no rain. But isn't it like never rain in California, right? 50 or 63 degrees. I can't read. My monitor's all blurry. I need to get a new monitor. Hit the follow button so I can get a new monitor. So yeah, I like the Niners. I like the Bears to cover the 3 points, and I love the over 52.5. Thank you everybody for listening. Hit that subscribe button for weekly or daily episodes, weekly NFL previews, recaps, all that stuff. I love you guys all. I'll catch you guys in the next episode of the Fire Sports Takes podcast. If you're listening on Spotify, hit the follow button, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back. Go follow on TikTok live every single day. I love you guys. I'll talk to you guys later. I'll catch you guys in the next episode of the Fire Sports Takes podcast.